Hey family, Dad here. Hope you're having a great day. On this video, I just wanted to share I got a job. Let me break down my 2024 job search. So on a previous video, I shared that I got laid off for the fourth time, and that was announced in mid-April. So the next following day, I started my job search after that announcement. The company I got laid off from gave us 45 days notice until the last working day. So the announcement happened in mid-April. End of May, the last day of May was our last day of work, which was great because it gave me a little time, kind of a head start on searching for a job. So on this job search, I kind of broke it down in a spreadsheet, and I'll show you kind of how this journey went. My previous job search, when I got laid off in December of 2022, I didn't keep track of my job search, but I roughly applied to between, I think, 45 to 55 jobs. And I got roughly 10 first interviews. And of those first 10 interviews, I moved to roughly 5 to 6 final interviews. And then I received 2 offers. One was from a big tech company and the other was from a healthcare sales company. I was fortunate at that time. I had options, but I realized I wanted to get back into healthcare, as during that time I was in tech sales. So with this healthcare company, I was there for approximately 15 months until layoff number 4 happened. So let me break down my job search of 2024. So as I said, in mid-April, I got laid off. Layoff number 4 happened. Literally the day after or later that day, I started applying for jobs. And let me break it down. So as you can see here, I have a spreadsheet of all the roles that I applied for from literally April 16th all the way down to May 20th. And majority of these roles were in healthcare, healthcare sales. One role with marketing, and then I did apply to a couple tech sales roles, and then some animal health sales roles. So in total, I applied to 30 jobs. And as you can see here, 13 of the 30 jobs I applied to, I received no feedback on my application, and they are highlighted in yellow. 13 of the 30 applications I received, auto email rejection. So I applied for the role, and then a couple days later, they sent an auto kind of generated email saying that I'm not moving forward with the role. So in total, 26 of the 30 jobs that I applied to, I either received no feedback on my application or I got the auto generated email rejecting me. So that leaves me with 4 jobs I applied to. And of those 4 jobs, I did get interviews. So of the 4 roles that I did get an interview with, I'll break it down to you. So the first role that I interviewed with, I applied on April 16th. I got eventually denied on May 25th. And this role was a healthcare sales company. It's a very big company. I was kind of intrigued by this company, and I went through the whole process. So I applied online. The first interview was kind of a video interview. So I wasn't interviewing with another person. It was just, on the video, they asked me a couple questions and I just had to answer on camera. And then that was submitted to the company, and then I moved along through the process. Overall, I eventually went through 7 interviews on this with this one company. I eventually got to the final interview where I did a face-to-face interview with the hiring manager and the VP of the company. I got denied on May 25th after a month plus through the process. And actually, the hiring manager kind of emailed me personally, just thought I was a great candidate. She thought that I could be very successful in this role. However, in this role, it is very structured, she said, and the company asks you to perform a certain way on how to selling. My thoughts was they wouldn't give us a lot of autonomy to sell. And so that was a frustration for me, as historically, all my previous roles, I had the autonomy and I had kind of the final say on how to grow the business, my pipeline, with my accounts. So she thought that was going to be a pain point for me, which I would struggle with. And I agreed with her 100%. I think for me, just historically, all my roles, I've been given the autonomy to run my business and how to grow the business. So I appreciated the feedback on her email, and I kind of responded back just saying, hopefully down the road, we can eventually cross paths and work together, because I thought she was a really good manager, and I thought I could work well with her. And then the second interview that I got was an application that I applied to on April 18th. This was a referral from an employee who works at the company. I've known her for a while, crossed paths with her. Her company had an opening in my area. She was more than happy to submit my resume to the hiring manager and see what came out of it. So on this application, and I got an interview right away, like within a week, with a hiring manager. It was a great interview, and I actually ended up moving all the way up to the final interview with the VP. So overall, I did 4 interviews with 7 people, and my final interview was on May 17th. With the VP. I thought it went well. It was a scheduled 30-minute interview, ended up being like 45 minutes. So I thought it went well. Since then, I got no feedback. Some of these websites, you create an account when you apply for a role, and I looked at an account and it's still an interview status. So I don't know where it was. I circled back with the hiring manager a couple times, and the last email that I got from her, she kind of ghosted me. So at this point, I assumed that I didn't get the role, which is fine. But it would have been nice if they just got back to me and just said, we're moving on to another candidate. And that would have been fine with me. I appreciate more candid feedback or some sort of feedback versus no feedback. And then another application that I got the interview, kind of got the first interview, was my old company, who essentially, and I shared on a previous video, is that they eliminated our roles, but they created new roles that I could apply to. There's not as many of these new roles versus, the roles that they eliminated. I fit the guardrails and parameters of, being a candidate for this newly created role. And so I threw my name in the hat. So I applied on April 19th. Essentially, I went through 2 interviews. I went through a first round of interview and I passed that, and I made it to the second interview, which was with the VP. I interviewed on May 15th with the VP, and I thought it went well. It was supposed to be a 30-minute interview, ended up being like a 50-minute interview. But 2 days later, I got the auto-generated email just saying I got denied. And that was the end of it with my previous company. So after May 17th, I kind of had an idea that I was not going to be with this company anymore. And then the fourth and last application that I started interviewing for, I applied on April 24th. It was through a recruiter. We talked a little bit and she moved me on to the hiring manager. It was a good interview. This company is a very small company, literally in a startup mode. I think there's like maybe 20, 25 employees total. I went through a recruiter interview. I went to the hiring manager interview. The hiring manager was great, kind of broke it down as far as what the role looks like, what the company's like, what the products are going to be like. And he moved me on to the final interview with the VP. And that was a great interview. Straight shooter, pretty transparent as far as the role and the product and the challenges that they anticipate in the near future and long term. But I was sold. It was really intriguing to me. I was really intrigued about the small company. I've always worked with bigger legacy companies. And so just being with a company that has like 20, 25 employees was really intriguing, really interesting. Literally after that interview on May 21st, an hour later, I got the offer and I accepted the offer. I was excited about it. Yeah, I'll be starting here fairly shortly, and I'll share a little more about this role on a future video. So all in all, like I said, I've applied to 30 jobs. 26 of the 30, I received either no feedback or the auto-generated email saying that I'm not moving forward. I did get 4 interviews. This application I just talked about, I applied on the website, 3 interviews, one with the recruiter, hiring manager, and then the VP. Final interview was May 21st, and I got an offer within the hour. So that was kind of the breakdown of my job search for 2024. Again, I think it went a little over a month during the whole search. And I'll share more on a future video about the role that I'm starting. I'm very excited about it, so can't wait to get started on that. So tell me your thoughts, tell me about your job hunt or any tricks of the trade to find a job. I would love to hear it. Comment, click, and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. So that's all I got. Stay safe, stay positive, and be happy. Love you, Dad.